Yo, what is going on YouTube? It is your boy GZTV back with another video, and my Packers are currently playing. Stay tuned for the recap this week. We are here to talk about Home Alone 2 Lost in New York. You guys saw I talked about the first one on the channel, and all month we're kind of doing Christmas movies. I know it's probably only going to be about 4 to 5 movies we get to this month because I'm very busy with the album of the year list and other stuff like listening to the albums, recording, doing cardio, going to work. There's a lot of stuff I'm juggling with, so be patient with me. But going into Home Alone 2, there was never a real expectation that it would be better than the original. I mean, there's no fucking way. The original is one of those rare films that pretty much hits every mark, and you guys saw my review. It is one of my highest rated, I think at a 9.4 out of 10. That is probably the best score I've ever given a movie on this channel. You know, there's nostalgia, humor, heart, and holiday spirit in that film. You guys can watch that. And trying to top that is basically impossible, I'm not gonna lie. Like, the odds are pretty fucking low. But what I did expect was a fun continuation, more Kevin McAllister chaos, and a solid excuse to stay in the Christmas spirit, a solid excuse for a sequel, not just a sorry attempt at it. And honestly, while the sequel doesn't quite capture the magic of the first film, it's still a very enjoyable holiday movie. Not essential, but absolutely welcome. I am absolutely fine with watching this again and again and again, like the original, but the original is far better, let's be honest. Let's get into it. So here we go, getting into the premise, basically what happened. I mean, I don't even know why I'm saying this. It's basically a copy and paste from the first film, but it's another kind of chaotic family trip planned around Christmas. After that, you know, Kevin McAllister once again gets separated, this time ending up in New York City instead of being left home alone. So this truly isn't really Home Alone. This should just be called Lost in New York. Armed with his dad's credit card and his own street smarts and his own mature mind for his age, Kevin turns the city into his personal playground, staying at a luxury hotel, exploring the streets, basically becoming the fucking Wolf of Wall Street, and indulging in everything a kid could dream of. Going to the toy store, giving back, talking to all sorts of different people. It's a great fucking time. Meanwhile, obviously you have the Wet Bandits. You see it in the poster, the two villains, now rebranded, but just as incompetent. It is kind of funny that they rebranded. I love kind of the comedy behind that. They escape prison. They also find themselves in New York some fucking how. I guess they're like ducking away from authorities. It's kind of convenient. There's a lot of convenient things about this film, I will admit. They plan a new crime spree to rob a bunch of places here in New York, even though they've tried to clear their name, get out of prison, and fucking leave. But here you go. When Kevin crosses paths with them again, he sets up an even more elaborate trap-filled showdown, this time inside a vacant building. And it also kind of goes throughout the city. Like, they are kind of chasing him, and he's like putting these beads on the ground and they're tripping. He also forms an unlikely relationship, obviously, with a lonely woman living in Central Park. Like I said, a lot of copy and paste. Basically, Marley turns into the pigeon lady here. So there you go. There's a lot of interesting situations. I don't know how these guys were smart enough to escape prison, but dumb enough to fall for traps. A lot of stuff doesn't make sense. Let's get into the nitty gritty. Alright, so starting with the good, first getting into Kevin McAllister, who's obviously made this franchise what it was. The two movies that he was in. Obviously, Macaulay Culkin continuing to be fantastic, continuing to take his momentum from the first film and use it here. Smart, funny, surprisingly, again, mature for his age, has these clever little one-liners, has these really good personable connections with people in the film, like the pigeon lady. I think that's amazing. His empathy, his interactions with the pigeon lady, who kind of seems down on her luck, kind of seems like a loner, seems like an anomaly, someone that no one really likes, and he goes over there without hesitation and like make sure she like feels belonging. It reinforces he isn't just a prankster, he isn't just this like bratty ass kid that wants to like live his childhood out, but a genuinely kind kid. Like, deep down he's a very good kid who understands loneliness and forgiveness and stuff like that, and that's great. And Macaulay Culkin to be a kid and to play this role so well, I love it. The New York City setting is definitely a change of pace, and I really like it. I like how it looks. I think it's the biggest upgrade from the original. I think it's what really sets this movie apart from the original, is that we're moving locations, and New York City is the perfect place, because obviously they were in some random Chicago suburb in the first film. Now we're in New York City, and that is great. But adds scale, energy, and definitely movement to the story. You know, mobile, moving through this big ass city, and you know, his mom's coming there from their trip and trying to look for him and stuff. I think it's great. Instead of being locked into one house and being limited to this one environment, the film feels alive, bouncing between hotels. You get toy stores, Central Park, whatever. It keeps the sequel from feeling stale, and it keeps it from like just being the same old, same old. The hotel subplot is great, you know, when he kind of spends some time sitting in the hotel, him manipulating the hotel staff with recorded movie dialogue is one of the best additions in the sequel. Obviously, he did that to the villains in the first film, but to make it on the hotel workers as his way. It is repetitive, and we'll get into the repetitive nature of the film. Certainly, there's some part of that is definitely repetitive, but overall, I think that was a great moment. Again, clever, funny. It shows growth in Kevin's mischief without it repeating the exact same beats from the first movie. You know, they definitely try to wane from it a little bit. And Harry and Marv, although it is kind of weird and again convenient that they are involved in this movie, they're still great villains. Still excellent chemistry between Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern, which Daniel Stern really kind of made his name these two movies. And it's crazy because he's not even the main character. Again, it's repetitive. Their performances remain energetic and entertaining. Again, Pesci, I will always say this, but transitioning from gangster roles to a slapstick villain, that's perfect. And that's crazy. It doesn't make sense on paper, but then you see him on screen, it's fucking great. And again, just the holiday vibes of this one. It is Christmas season in this one. It feels very festive. It feels very happy. It feels like a very joyous film to watch. Very strong atmosphere. Decorations, you know, being in New York and having the fat ass Rockefeller tree. And Kevin's like staring off in the distance and his mom finds him standing by the tree because she knows he likes Christmas trees. I think that's amazing. It all reinforces the festive tone without overpowering the story. And sure, the soundtracks and some of the Christmas songs and stuff like that they used in this film weren't as good as the first one. It's still great. It still creates an amazing environment. Now, in terms of the okay, I think just the traps in general, I did kind of like the traps for sure. It's obviously very like repetitive nature. I think the traps themselves, like the creativity of it all, they definitely had a lot more elements and they weren't as limited with this film, obviously, given the success of the first one. They're creative, they're iconic, but also wildly exaggerated. I do think that's kind of like the bad part, because if you're talking okay with something, there's good and bad parts. And the bad part about it is the exaggeration. Again, they're fun to watch, but like the cartoonish nature removes any sense of danger. Characters flying through the air because of a teeter-totter. Like if you jump on a teeter-totter with another grown man on it, you're not going to send him flying 20 feet in the air and crashing into a car like you just flew through something. You know what I mean? It's weird. Harry and Marv surviving is actually unbelievable as well, and I'm pretty sure there's like YouTube videos out there. You would not survive these traps. Like the AC to DC voltage converter, like the arc thing where he's like turning it up and shocking the shit out of him in water. You would be dead. And the emotional arc, I am overall mixed on the whole pigeon lady situation because it is very recycled. Again, it's obviously great. It works emotionally, but you're literally just replacing an old character for a new one. It's a reskin of the first film's heart-to-heart moment. It's still effective, it's just not fresh. I can't like overly put it in the good because, well, they've done it before. There's really nothing special about it. The score, I mean, John Williams delivers again. Obviously, there's great instrumentation, but I'm not really as much focused on the instrumentation in this movie as I am the actual Christmas music. And you didn't get any. It's not inseparable from the film, you know, compared to the original one. Obviously, John Williams has worked on like Star Wars and done all sorts of things. He's one of the greatest music composers ever, but in this movie, he doesn't really set it apart. I mean, it's good. It's just not iconic this time around, and this isn't a huge factor. I know not a lot of people watch movies to look at movie soundtracks and shit like that, but I just wanted to put it out there. And I think the family presence, I think Kevin's family, it feels even more distant here. It feels like he even is more far away, which I guess is true, because in the first one, I don't remember where they went. The second one, they went to Florida. The first one, they might have went to Disney World or some shit. I can't remember, but the twist that they believed he was with them, I guess that adds a new layer of like dramatic irony. I guess it's the fact that like they made it a conscious attempt this time to like have him with them on the trip, and then they're like passing the bag down at bag collection. It's like, oh, Kevin's not here. Kevin's not here. Kevin's not here. Oh wait, Kevin's not here. It's a lot of rehashing, but at the same time, it does add some dynamic, which the family is a little more tolerable here as well. They're not like completely shitting on him. So this is going to be a pretty short video, I'm not going to lie, because the first one's just that much better, but still. Getting into the bad, I do think it is formulaic, and I do think there's bad stuff about that. The movie plays extremely safe, I think. There are some different directions it takes, and I can definitely respect the hell out of it, though kind of some of the stuff we said in the good and a little bit of the stuff we said in the okay. Like, they're definitely taking different directions. Nearly every major beat mirrors the first film. It kind of makes it feel more like a remix than a true sequel. It's almost like a parody of the first film. Again, it's a texture pack. It's like taking the concept of the first film and adding a few different touches and saying, hey, here's our movie, now go buy some damn tickets. Again, it's enough to sell. Again, like Joe Pesci, Daniel Stern, and Macaulay Culkin as like the three main characters are fantastic, and they continue to be, but it's very formulaic. It's not really a true sequel because you're not really continuing on from the first one. Obviously, there's the sentiments of like, oh shit, let's make sure we don't leave Kevin behind again. But at the same time, it's literally like rewinding the tape and replaying it from the first film to an extent, and I don't like that. Also, the slapstick is a bit over the top, and I know I kind of commented on this on the original film, you know, with like the Will Ferrell, with the Jim Carrey type of comedy, and I thought it was fine in the first film, but they definitely took it very over the top with the slapstick here. Like the physical punishment of Harry and Marv, I guess I kind of touched on this previously in the previous sections, but it kind of borders on parody. It's almost like it's making fun of itself. It's almost like it's making fun of the first film. And overall, I guess you could say that. It's not even just the comedy. I think overall, this film is just a dip down from the first one so much so that it feels like it is parodying laughing and making fun of the first one. At times, it feels less more like a comedy and more like a cartoon, and I get it's kind of supposed to be family fun. It's not really for mature audiences, but honestly, the original film had some mature humor in there, so it's like, couldn't you do that here? I don't know. I guess they took the full like mainstream movie property thing where it's like, let's just make it cater to kids. Let's pull a Marvel here. So getting into my final thoughts, Home Alone 2 Lost in New York doesn't really need to exist, but it earns its place anyway. I am still glad that this movie is a thing. You can pull up the tier list, do what the fuck ever. It kind of lacks the originality and emotional weight of the first film, because with the first film, they kind of established some stuff. They established a very unique storyline, a very unique concept compared to any other films, especially holiday films, and they turned it into its own thing. This is definitely very much a rehashing of it, but there's definitely some good stuff about it too. The New York setting, the whole hotel antics, and continued charm of Kevin McAllister keeps it entertaining. I think Macaulay Culkin continues to carry this franchise forward, and I know he's included in 3 and 4, and I don't think we're going to watch those movies this month for that reason, but man, it is a comfort movie. Like, it's familiar, it's festive, it's fun. You can definitely sit down around the holiday seasons with your family and watch this. Maybe not get as much joy out of it as you would the original. I guess it never really recaptures the lightning in a bottle magic of the original. It doesn't quite reach that level of perfection. It's a solid holiday sequel that trades kind of innovation for comfort and mostly gets away with it. Overall, I know this isn't going to be super high score, but I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. I know that is a huge drop from the first one, but it's literally just the first film, but probably worse if I'm being honest with you. And the fact that it's even copying its own film, it's copying another film in the franchise, is enough to dock it all 2 scores out of 10. So with that being said, I am out, guys. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. I gotta go hit the treadmill, and then I'm starting on this video. I am so sorry that these videos are taking so long. I have to focus on album of the year stuff. I have work in the way. I'm doing all sorts of stuff over the winter break, hanging out with family, trying to get stuff done for next semester, that sort of thing. Hopefully you guys understand, and go tune into the TikTok, go check out the socials, go make sure you're over there, because that has been the main content for the last week now. I am out, guys.